Hey there, you wonderful listeners. I have a question for you. Do you want to make a podcast? Well, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money all in one place and for free. How can you beat that? It's called Spotify for Podcasters. And here is how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, there are Q&A and poll options available, and those are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I've discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it has made doing my shows like the Steam Machine Podcast, Yabs Pod, and the JRPG Report much, much easier to do. Like being able to just go on there, record them, upload it, boom, it's done. I don't have to pay for a site service to host or anything like that. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week, I have friends again. I have friends. Go ahead and
That's kind of a stretch, but you have a couple people here with you.
We can be your friends. We're the Benevolent Society of Quakers.
Oh my god.
All right, cut it there. Boom.
Good episode.
Good episode, guys. Oh man, how you guys doing this week?
Good, bud. How are you? I know you had a fun one last week. Got to listen to some of that episode today, and it actually sounds really good. I like what you do with the music in the background of it. So,
I just wanted to try to make it more interesting. I guess I just have something in the background to kind of fill in where I'm having those like moments where I'm thinking, but yet Truncate Silence decides to not take it out. So.
Well, have you ever missed the background music? If I say something dumb as shit, just replace it with a talkbox solo.
Dude, I have a talkbox. I have one of those. It's in my other room, but I totally have one of those. It makes your throat feel really weird after using it for a while.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of music in the background, even though it's not in the background, I released a new album. It's the last one of the year, I promise. I know, I don't know how I'm gonna do release schedule next year, but like the other day, I was just like, man, I'm gonna fuck around and make some music, and then I ended up just making an album with all the just fucking around with the samples and stuff. But yeah, it's up. It's called Moon Path to Somewhere.
By Now the Nightmare.
By Now the Nightmare, yes, on Bandcamp, nowthenightmare.bandcamp.com. I got the name from like there's a mod for Skyrim called Moon Path to Elsewhere.
You nerd.
Should have known.
And I almost named it because Elsewhere in the Elder Scrolls it's like ELSYWYR or something like that. I almost just named it Moon Path to Elsewhere, like how we would normally spell elsewhere. But I thought, that's creeping a little too close, so I did Moon Path to Somewhere. But I'm really proud of it. Everything about it's a little off like me. But I listened to it from beginning to end multiple times after I had completed all the songs and then arranged them in the order I wanted. And it's probably one of the better flowing albums I've ever made. As far as stylistic, like I didn't jump around a bunch of styles in this one. There's a few changes here and there, but yeah, if you're interested, go check it out. It's $8. That's not much. It's 17 songs, $8. So Yeah.
Definitely excited to listen to that one. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but definitely looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, and I always look forward to hearing feedback from everybody. So, yeah. Just other than that, this week.
Yeah, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. This is your permanent guest host, Nate. With me, as always, are the hosts.
Me, Dalton. Hey.
Hey, I'm your co-host, Willie.
We skipped that part, so I thought I'd throw it in.
Thank you. Yes, I felt naked, but I didn't know how to revert back over to do that.
You felt naked, but you couldn't quite put on pants, so you're just tying a tie over your neck and hoping you can make it go down far enough.
So I've been playing a bit of a game called Nexomon this week, and Nate, you've also been playing Pokemon. All right, so I'm actually curious first to hear about how Shining Pearl is going.
So I like Shining Pearl a lot, but the problem with it, in my opinion, is it is super freaking easy. Like, I've encountered like 0 problems that my Crobat can't solve at this point. So I'm just kind of like running through the game. But the cool thing about it is I finally decided to go into that section that they added in for this remake version of it called the Grand Underground, which is a really cool section where you get to run around underneath the ground and find a bunch of Pokemon living in little caves down there and stuff. So it adds a few Pokemon that you couldn't normally catch. Like now I have a Houndoom in my party, which is awesome. But it's just like, overall, I think the game's a little bit too easy. And I think that's just, I don't know if that's how the originals work, because unfortunately I didn't play that generation of Pokemon games. But yeah, it's really, really easy.
Is the underground section kind of akin to the big open world area in Sword and Shield?
It's a little bit like that, yeah. Like, instead of like going to a certain area on the map, though, you just use this item that takes you like underground. But then there are sections where you can walk into different environments of it. It's not like all just one big giant open underground where you see all the monsters, but there's like different sections. Like, this is like a cave full of swamp type monsters. This is like a sunny day type cave. This is a spacious cavern, all kind of weird stuff like that. In my experience, like, the Pokemon variety still isn't great down there either. I think I was spoiled by Shield because of all the Pokemon in it. This one feels a little bit like less populated as far as different types of Pokemon.
Yeah, because I want to say that, like, back in the day, like, I know that's a remake of the older games, and like those back in the day would have like their generation, and then once you beat it, you would access like an area that had some of the other generations Pokemon, you know. But okay, well, I've been debating on, you know, checking it out. I'm sure I could find a way to emulate it if I really want to check it out. But I'd rather, like, I've always liked playing the Pokemon games on like the Switch and stuff, so I might look into that. But I might, you know, get the other version so we could trade. Although you've been setting up trades and stuff with Erisoradum.
Yeah, we haven't actually done any yet, but I'm looking forward to doing some because I know his version has one of my favorite Pokemon of that generation, which is Murkrow, which evolves into Honchkrow, which is a really cool Pokemon I enjoy. So hopefully we can set up one of those trades soon.
Oh, yeah. And then I've been fucking around with a game called Nexomon Extinction, which is like a PC version. It's a monster catcher like Pokemon, and dude, it's awesome. I sent you guys some screenshots of it and our Discord.
It's very charming. I like the art style a lot. Like, you seem like you're having a lot of fun. I think these kind of games live and die by the monster design, and a lot of the ones you showed us have been really cute.
Yeah, that little mummy. I love it.
Yeah, Moo.
Yes.
He is now a Discord emote. You should come join our Discord. bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Him, and I don't remember his actual name, but I named the little elephant guy Doofer, and that's what his emote name is Doofer, because I don't remember that fucking thing's name. But I had to add them. They're fucking adorable. The game's also really funny. Like, legitimately, there's been a few times I've laughed out loud, and I don't remember that ever happening when I played Pokemon. No offense to it, but it definitely got some fucking humor to it. And, sir, if you are looking for something with some difficulty to it, do I have the game for you? Because this game, there's been... Last night, when we were all talking, and I was sending him screenshots and stuff, I was in this one particular area I had gotten to. It's like the haunted forest, and everything's purple and dark looking, and I fucking love it, for one. But in the town, there's an area right next to like where you would heal, and it's not the Nurse Joy bot like I sent. It's just this dude by a medic tent. But there's grass with Nexamon, so you can go and fight. I would literally like go do one fight and then have to run back and heal. Go do one fight, have to run back and heal. Luckily, it's not that long of a run, but dude, you get hit fucking hard. You also hit hard, but it's got some good challenge to it, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I was curious about the combat in that game. Is it Pokemon-like, whereas there's different types that are super effective, not effective? Okay.
Yeah, and you have your stamina bar instead of your PP. The catch mechanic is cool because it's like your how you've damaged its health affects it, and then status effect, whether you want to feed it or not. There's all kinds of stuff that will affect the percentage of your catch rate with your Nexo Trap, which is a triangle. Yeah, it's blast. And then once you beat the game, there's like a custom mode where I think you can run Nuzlocke and things like that too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about a game like that is with Pokemon, you're inundated and you get to know all the Pokemon, and it's kind of hard to grow your attachments to it. I feel like on a game like that where you have no like real knowledge of what the Nexamon are going to look like and what their abilities are, I feel like it'd be a lot easier to get attached to that kind of thing because it's like your first time seeing it. Like everybody goes into Pokemon like, yeah, I got to get a Pikachu, or for me it's like, I got to get a Crobat, and kind of just go by that way.
And I'm not used to their names either, so like I wasn't turned off by giving them nicknames, whereas like in Pokemon it's like, man, I don't want to give that thing a nickname because I'm going to call it Carl and it's going to go Pika, and it's like motherfuckers, your name is Carl. but it would be weird if he was just like Carl. But yeah, so like naming him like Doofer, and then I got a dog Nexamon and named it Derp Derp because it looked like a fucking Derp Derp. And
D names.
Yeah, a lot of D names. There was one I got. My mummy Moo. I named him George because you were like, oh, he's so cute. I just want to hug him and squeeze him, and I was like, I will name him George. So yeah, it's just,
man. Speaking of monster catching games, though, y'all, that Monster Rancher 2 remake apparently came out recently.
Well, it's coming out this month.
Coming out this month. Y'all,
I might have to pre-order that, dude. I've been debating
I might
it
have checked
hard.
the price on it, but
I think it's $29.99.
It's not bad.
That seems reasonable.
And it's one and two bundled together.
I'm really interested in 2 though.
Yeah,
I don't care about 2.
2 was the one I had.
I'm really curious. Hey, dude, that's the one I played back in the day. No qualms from me, gentlemen. I'm curious about this music database that they have curated. Like, what am I going to be able to find in this? Like, because I used to love going through all the CDs.
Search it for Beastie Boys or whatever, and then it's like, yeah, here's License to Ill. You want to see what monster it gives you? Because
that's basically what I've read. Yeah.
I do worry that it takes some of the fun out of it, because half the fun was grabbing a CD, throwing it in there, and just crossing your fingers that it read something cool on it.
Yeah, but if the collection it has is big enough, then you'd still be browsing it all day. Like, I wonder what Cher has for me. Because there became a point where you were like borrowing mom and dad's CDs and,
man.
like stuff you would never have thought of.
My dad's a big music head, so we have hundreds of CDs. And
you had so many Melon Suezos.
Me and my buddy Emmett, man, I was just talking to my mom about this the other day, explaining that this game was coming out. I was like, do you not remember me and Emmett going through every goddamn CD in this house? And she's like, no. And I was like, really? Because we had stacks on stacks of them in the living room, and you and Dad were hella annoyed. But yeah, I really look forward to that, man. I loved Monster Rancher. Even if it doesn't hold up, I'm still going to love it, because that's going to be just like a big nostalgia shot in the arm. Like, ugh, God, give it to me.
I'd like to get through it too, because I never really finished.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
I never beat it.
Never even close.
My monsters always died.
I got like B-type demons or whatever at the best. I never even unlocked the Phoenix. I did try to emulate it several years later, and the moment I unlocked Phoenix, the game crashed.
Oh.
It was the most heartbreaking thing ever, and this is why I'm still mad at PlayStation emulation to this day.
It's gotten better. If that was years ago.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah, it was a very long time.
I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I got gifted 2 games recently. My buddy Mike gave me Dark Souls, and
nice.
Let me tell you, that game is just as hard as everybody tells you it is. It's fun.
Dark Souls. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all. It's fun though.
I was like, Dark Souls is a game that I've always been extremely curious about. Like, never really had the opportunity to play, and it's just one that I think that I'm going to have an extreme relationship with, one way or the other. I'm either going to absolutely adore it, or I'm going to want to kill everybody who developed that game.
I don't think it's an either or thing. I think both is very likely.
Because, I don't mind difficult games. I don't shy away from it. Like Hollow Knight, obviously, being notoriously difficult is one of my favorite games. But
that was going to be my comparison. I was going to say, as much as you like Hollow Knight, I think that you would probably dig Dark Souls. It is incredibly frustrating, but so satisfying when you figure it out and you're like, okay, so maybe you die trying to go through this part 20 times, but on that 21st try they don't fucking touch you and you're like, eat a dick, yeah, and you just feel good. So it's
to me it's almost like, what if the Legend of Zelda games were Punch Out and you had to learn how to beat every single one of them and they whipped your ass over and over until you did, but it's for every tiny monster.
Like for instance, I went up in this one area and I'm just like running across this bridge area thing, and this giant fucking Ifrit looking demon just jumps down from this pillar. And I'm like, oh, I just have to fight this thing now. Okay, so I roll out of the way and I swing my sword at it and I hit it, and it does the tiniest bit of damage, and this thing swings its big ass hammer and just knocks me off the side of the fucking castle. And I was like, all right, well,
you die.
Yeah, you are dead.
Important for my mental image. FF7 Ifrit or FF8 Ifrit?
8.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Not the weird green. No, I fucking hate Final Fantasy VII Ifrit so much.
Me too.
Oh god, they took, if 8 Ifrit is perfect, and then like 10 Ifrit was also very good. But Jesus, Final Fantasy VII Ifrit can eat the biggest bag of dicks. Like,
there's a lot you can say about Final Fantasy VIII, but I cannot deny that those Final Fantasy VIII summon animations are nasty. Yeah. The Diablos killed me back in the day. Doom Train, like, there's so much cool stuff.
There's a reason that in Final Fantasy XIV, in the boss fight, when you have to fight Diablos, that he looks like the Diablos from 8. Like, and he does that fucking thing where he reaches his hand up in that big ball and then brings it down. Like, it's just so fucking cool. So, and then the other game I want to bring up, and I want to thank him for as well. Thank you, Mike, for Dark Souls. We got gifted a game for the list from Arizer Adam, and I should say it's really 3 games, because he gifted us the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy.
Nice.
Oh shit.
So, and that one's one that it's not multiplayer or anything like that. So whenever we pull it, we can just access it from the library and stuff like that. So everybody can kind of get a taste of it if you want, Nate. I know sometimes you'd rather just buy it, but the offer is always there for you to just peruse the library. But I played the first case of the first game a little bit earlier today, and it cracked me up. It's pretty funny. I've heard
the writing is very.
I've heard it from Tyler, from Tadpog. Shout out Tadpog, Tyler and Dave Play Old Games. I've heard him talk about it over the years, that those games are just fantastic. So I'm excited to actually try them. And I think Adam said that they're some of his favorite games as well.
They're really charming. They have excellent music. I've actually only played through the first one, the Game Boy, or the DS version of it. So, like, looking forward to this.
Objection!
Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. Wait, that was the Mortal Kombat thing. That was supposed to be cornered.
I mean, Phoenix Wright has been in fighting games, so you're not too far off.
That's true. That's true.
Fucking objection! Yeah, I'm all about that.
Not guilty-ality.
Mortal Case Files.
There it is.
Oh man. The only other thing I had noted is this week I was playing Skyrim, and you know how? So I don't know how I can really emulate it through speaking, but I'm going to do it to you guys really quickly on the camera, and then I can try to explain what I just did. So you know how somebody will like do this, where they're like, or like it's almost like they're out of camera view, and then they just pop up out of nowhere. Okay, yeah. So I'm standing in Whiterun, getting ready to leave Whiterun in Skyrim, and I'm at the point where if someone opens the door and spawns in, they're going to spawn in right in front of me. And I did not realize this. And I have it pulled up, and I'm like doing something, and I'm looking at some stuff. And all of a sudden, it just looks like this woman just goes from crouching to like leaning over to just standing up. And she's like, "Oh, did you come here to talk to an old woman, do your good deed for the day?" And I was went, "Where the fuck did you come from?" Because I had my headphones on. She scared the shit out of me, dude. Oh my god!
You got jump scared in Skyrim, my dude.
By an old lady. By an old lady. Of all the things, I've been jump scared by Draugr. I've been jump scared by fucking bears, but never an old lady. God, it scared the shit out of me. So, gentlemen, this week, well, first and foremost, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up in our pregame chat?
No, I feel good.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, I feel like we've covered quite a range of topics in a short time.
I didn't want to cut anybody off, you know. But this week, we dove into QUAKE.
Yes.
And first and foremost, I'm going to bring this up right at the beginning. Who would have thought that we were playing a game so old, and as we're going to play it the week before or so, it gets a fucking update and updates the visuals, a new fucking mode.
It's insane. Like I feel like this is not like the first time this has happened to us. Like, we thought we were going to play Phasmophobia for our week, and bam, new big, huge, and major update. But who would have thought they'd do it for Quake, a game this old?
Yeah, insane.
They added a new multiplayer mode called Horde Mode, which I'm sure we're going to discuss. It was actually pretty interesting.
But before we get there, it's everyone's favorite segment, the O-dubs, the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, Quake is a first-person shooter game that was developed by id Software and published by GT Interactive in 1996. To give you some perspective on the update that happened in 2021. This game came out in 1996. It's the first game in the Quake series. In the game, player must find their way through various maze-like medieval environments while battling a variety of monsters using an array of weaponry. The overall atmosphere is dark and gritty, with many stone textures and a rusty, capitalized font. I just love that it's like dark and gritty with a rusty, capitalized font. That's a key. It's capitalized. If it was all lowercase, wouldn't matter. Quake also takes heavy inspiration from Gothic fiction and the works of H.P. Lovecraft, which I guess I get that. The successor to Doom, Quake built upon the technology and the gameplay of its predecessor, but unlike the Doom engine before it, the Quake engine offered full real-time 3D rendering and had early support for 3D acceleration through OpenGL. One other thing is Quake's also featured music composed by Trent Reznor and his band 9 Inch Nails.
Fun fact, there's a weapon in the game. It's a nail gun, and the ammo boxes have the 9 Inch Nails logo on them.
That's awesome. I did not notice that while we were playing. I should have looked harder. You guys even told me that while we were playing.
Oh, that's one of my favorite bits of trivia about that game, is just how deeply embedded Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails is with that game.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Like, even the sound effects and stuff he worked on, and like that sound when you jump, that's him.
This would be a good thing. Willie, you probably know more about this than I do. Despite receiving critical acclaim, Quake's development was controversial in the history of id Software. Due to creative differences and a lack of leadership, the majority of the team left the company after the game's release, including co-founder John Romero.
Yeah, they basically split off into several different smaller companies at that point, in a way. Like, Romero took his people to make, to a company I think was called Ion Storm, to make Daikatana, which was his next big project. And John Carmack, I think, stayed at id and was working on the software for the next engine for Quake 2, which didn't have basically, like the creative people in both, in the previous id groups got kind of split among both companies.
I gotcha.
Because it was not a happy split. That game Quake had a really, really difficult development. Like, they didn't know what kind of game it was actually going to be until fairly close to the release date.
Ooh, that seems like that would cause some issues.
Yeah, that's like interesting. What other kind of game would it have been other than a Doom-like shooter?
They was originally going to have a lot more RPG type elements, but they still wanted it to be a fast-paced, violent, and brutal game. But they couldn't really get like the gameplay of it working in the way they originally decided. So, like, John Romero has basically described it as, so we just put Doom weapons in the game, which I don't think is exactly fair, but I can see what their original vision was going to be a little bit more, because you can see there was a lot more medieval fantasy and mild sci-fi, and then like eldritch gothic horror elements all put in there, and it's pretty clear that like they had a very complicated vision, and I think it works together as an aesthetic, but it is clearly confused.
Yeah, I could get that. Let's see. I'm just seeing if there's anything else worth reading off here real quick before I close the Wikipedia page. Yeah, the remastered version was developed by Night Dive Studios and published by Bethesda, which, Bethesda now owns id Software, for if there's anybody out there living under a rock and didn't know that, and was released for Microsoft Windows, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One in August of 2021, which included the original game's extended content and 2 episodes developed by Machine Games. So, like, they updated it, put in new content, and then before we were recording this, like we said, they got another update where they added this mode called Horde Mode, which that's not even on the wiki yet. That's how new that shit is.
That's crazy.
Night Dive did a fantastic job with this port, though. I feel like they've done some slight upgrades to the graphics, but they don't look like, well, we've taken this 1995 game and updated it for 2020. It's just like things are a little smoother, but they're still in the original art style. It still has that same feeling of Quake that it had back.
You hear
in
that,
the day.
Rockstar? Sorry, continue.
It honestly feels
right.
like what my child's mind remembers Quake looking like. What I see in the game now is what I think of when I think of Quake. Like, they didn't do anything drastic or change it. Like, that's just kind of how, as a kid, I remember the game looking. I'm sure it's upgraded and looks better now, but that's what it looked like to me then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job. I was always an Unreal Tournament kid, so
Reasonable.
I didn't really ever play Quake because I had consoles. So, like, I don't even remember a Quake game coming out. Well, obviously it did, but I never played them really. But I've always liked this style of game, and I think that going back to these originals, like when we played Doom 2 and now Quake, it's like I could see why these games have stood the test of time, like why people still play them. I had a buddy of mine post the other day. He was like, loaded up Quake 3 Arena and played that long enough to tell you that it doesn't hold up. And I was like, oh man, we're playing Quake 1 and it's fuck great. Really? So I was like, what? Is there that big of a difference between the two? I don't know.
Quake 3, I could see Quake 3 Arena would be difficult because if you're getting that game together with people that have been playing it it's a multiplayer only game. There wasn't a single player campaign in Quake 3 Arena. It was strictly multiplayer focused. And the multiplayer in it involves a lot of tricky movement techniques and pathing and stuff. So, like, I have a feeling that if you're just running up against people that have been playing it continuously since then, they're just going to shadrack you for reasons you won't even understand.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's like when you hop into a fighting game that's pretty niche or something like that, and they're fans that really fucking love it. It's like I would never try to play King of Fighters online. No thanks.
No, I played it with you guys. That was fun. Playing Quake with you guys was a lot of fun. But if I tried to jump onto a general purpose Quake 1 server right now, I'm still pretty sure I would get completely messed up. Although I don't know if they have any kind of matchmaking. I didn't actually look into how that works.
I don't think they had matchmaking. I think you just had to join somebody's public lobby.
I think you're right. That
I know
makes sense.
that us three played some deathmatch stuff, and I didn't win a single one. So.
I think we played like 4 death matches.
Yeah, we played 4
I think
games.
Willie won 2 and I won 2.
Yeah. It was either that or you won 3.
Which was surprising because I really thought you were just going to win all 4 easily.
No, you get on runs in this game, which is really awesome, because if you pick up the best weapons, you can kind of run people down before, like, you're not really camping them, you're just running them down before they can fully reload. And also you get, like, they drop a backpack full of all their shit when they die. So it's like, thank you for dying with the Thunder Gun.
I was going to say, it's a race
mine.
to find the Thunder Gun.
Or Rocket Launcher's really good in multiplayer, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like in order, the Thunder Gun, the Rocket Launcher, the Super Nail Gun, and the Super Shotgun were the only weapons I could do anything with.
Sure.
Like, I had a couple times where I just really strafed like a genius and outmaneuvered you with a single shotgun, but that's not what that weapen's made for.
Yeah,
because deathmatch mode was really cool because there were several maps and we got to play, like we said, like 4 of them. The Bad Place was a really fun map that we got to do.
Yeah.
And I think we all just had a kind of a good time because, like, I don't think any of us cared if we won, really. So we were just going around shooting each other and having a good time. And B, it's just like the movement feels really good for multiplayer.
Yes.
Because one thing that I will say about Quake right off the bat is the movement in this game feels so much more crisp than, like, Doom did. 100% sure.
Yeah.
It's not slidey like Doom.
It's not slidey, and I feel like you have more control. Like, I know, because, like, Doom, I think there are ways that you can control the vertical axis, but I actually didn't think I would, but I really enjoyed actually having that much control over the vertical axis in Quake.
You have a ton of direct control over vertical movement in Quake. Like, the Quake movement code in some form exists in so many games that, like, when the Quake engine got purchased and used in Gold Source, they didn't change very much of that. That's why Portal probably felt kind of familiar, because it's still running Quake bits. If you play Team Fortress 2 and you play as the soldier, you're rocket jumping pretty much the same way you are as the guy.
I was going to say, isn't like the Unreal engine is just built off of the Quake engine, isn't it? Pretty much.
I think Unreal is a competitor engine.
Oh, okay.
But Source, which is what Valve used from pretty much all their games, is based on the Quake engine. id Tech.
Yeah, and also the jumping control was so welcome in it.
Yeah.
I cannot get over how good the in-air control when you're jumping feels. And we weren't doing advanced, like, strafe jump bunny hop stuff. We were just talking about just being able to jump and kind of wiggle a little bit, just enough to feel like, I mean, it's like the difference between playing Castlevania 1 and playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I will say that, like, I do not like auto sprint being on. I don't know why. It's like it's too fast paced for my brain, but if I have it turned off and I hold shift, it's like, as long as I'm holding shift and I can control it when I'm running fast, it didn't bother me. But like, just playing where I was running around all the time, running super fast, was giving me a headache. The same thing it did with me in Doom, and I don't know why that is.
I mean, it's probably psychological, but I mean, if just non-auto run and always holding shift was working for you, then stay with it. I feel like my arm would get sore after a minute, but that's how a lot of people did it old school. Like, there wasn't an auto run button in Wolfenstein 3D.
I'm so used to playing like MMOs and stuff that, like, my hands being on the WASD with my pinky just relaxing on the shift button is just so second nature to me that it didn't bother me at all to just bloop.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent of play games the way that feels good for you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, fuck that guy in Twitch.
I know you guys. I know you guys are a lot more willing to play first-person games on the controller than I would expect a normal person would be. For instance,
I absolutely didn't try that on this game. Like, there's a big difference between like this and Portal in that regard.
I'm still surprised you could do that with Portal. Like, I know that they did have console releases and stuff, but I'm surprised that you got as much out of that game. I guess it doesn't require super precise shooting and all that, but there's some timing puzzles where it seems like it'd be awful tight.
I like it tight.
Yeah.
All right.
Zing.
We like a tight Portal around.
Man, never mind. I'm not even gonna. Actually, you know what? I am gonna make that joke. Like, imagine if you could just like blue portal, orange portal up here by your face, and then just. It would be great. But then you could do like this weird thing where like you put your dick in your mouth, and then you could just like jump, and then you could just spin between them. And a never-ending thing, and then
that's a real Ouroboros.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude over here trying to create the 69 paradox.
Yes, bitch. There you go. That's my new band name, the 69 Paradox.
I would listen to that.
Man.
Unlike your current shitty music, fuck that.
Zing. Oh, my heart.
I'm just kidding. I can't wait to listen to Moonpath to Elsewhere or Nowhere, not Elsewhere. I was listening
because it's Moonpath to Somewhere.
Wait, is it Somewhere? I thought you said
no,
it was
it's
Nowhere.
Moonpath to Somewhere. It's all good. I'm just picking on you anyway. So Horde mode was something that I was looking forward to playing. That, like we said, just recently got added. I do hope they flesh it out a little more. Although I think we just played on an easy difficulty.
We only played that one on easy. Yeah. We played co-op on medium, so it wasn't as straightforward. But
no, that's okay, all good. Yeah, the Horde mode was just like, it's what it sounds like. They just throw enemies at you in waves, and my thing was it didn't seem like it built. Like, how sometimes like games that send waves at you kind of build up, where it's like the first wave's maybe 10 dudes, next one's like 15, next one's like 30. I think that's really cool. Quick sidebar, back on the PS3, I cannot remember the name of the game, but I think it was called like The Hunted something. It was a shooter game that had dinosaurs in it, right? Kind of like Turok, but different. But it had this mode where there was this big wall, almost like, remember how in Zombies you have to like they try to break in and you repair it in Call of Duty Zombies. It's kind of like that. You prepare it, but it would send waves of dinosaurs at this wall. So you were having to like go up to these windows and like shoot down raptors before they got to the wall, while also like telling your team to start shooting at this fucking T-Rex that's slowly making its way over, because you want to try to get that thing down before it busts down your wall. It was really cool. But the hordes got bigger and bigger and bigger.
That sounds fun. That reminds me of like Man vs. Machine in Team Fortress 2.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. What is?
It's kind of it's a mode in that it's kind of a little bit like it's just like 6 players against a computer team instead of against it's like a endless, not endless, but it kind of reminds me of a tower defense game. It's like as if you were playing tower defense in Team Fortress.
Okay, that would be up my alley. Actually, that would be fun. But so, I mean, with this being new, I don't know if this is just something that they're like, here, have it, or if it's something that they might update again. But I mean, either way, I can't complain. It's new content for an old ass game.
Yeah, and I can't see the motivation really to support this in any crazy degree. I think they're just like, hey, have a bonus. This will be fun for y'all and just enjoy it. And I don't know, like you said, maybe if we played on a harder difficulty mode, the horde would get harder as we went on. Also felt like we might have, because I don't know that we had to go through those exits that we went through sometimes. I think we could have stuck around and maybe it would have gotten harder from there, because I don't remember like ever necessarily completely clearing out an entire horde. I think we always went through one of those portals to leave.
That's possible.
So you think there might have been more challenges?
Maybe, but I also think if we go back to it, which I wouldn't mind doing because it was spoiler fun game, that we should try it on a tougher difficulty mode.
Yeah,
for sure.
With that,
I would say the biggest thing I would compare this to if we have any hardcore Doom people listening right now, if you've ever played Skull Tag Invasion mode, it's kind of like what this is like, except one thing Invasion does that I wish this did was in Invasion, usually the geometry of the level would change slightly between each wave. So like another wall would fall and there'd be a new area you could go out and pick up new weaponry. And it's the only time the geometry change was after a wave. It would be like, here's a silver key, and you can go through the silver key, and it's usually just a new pickup.
Yeah.
And like a slightly larger area. It wasn't as dramatic as Invasion.
Yeah, that would be cool if the map
the levels
changed.
would fully change. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, Quake level geometry is... I don't even think changing much stuff is supposed to be built into the way the Quake engine works, because you don't really see like all the walls slide down in any Quake level and then everything completely... Like, I feel like it has completely different triggers and capabilities than Doom does.
Well, there were points in Quake, I remember, when we were playing on the campaign mode, where there was like an elevator that would go down and up.
Yeah, there were some really complicated elevators. I liked the one that went underwater.
Now, we played, maybe the first half of the original campaign, I think?
Yes. We didn't play any of the expansion campaigns. We just played the original Quake levels, episodes 1 and 2.
And I mean... Dude, I had a blast. Don't get me wrong. The boss was a little anticlimactic.
The boss fights in Quake are bad. Like, we fought one of the 2 bosses in the game, and the other one's pretty much...
Yeah, I think that's the thing with those old boomer shooters. I honestly don't think Doom had really good bosses. Like, I don't think the Cyber Demon was a good boss. I don't think the Spider Mastermind was a good boss, and I definitely don't think the Icon of Sin was a good boss. I just don't think that they had a good plan for bosses back then.
I think that when Doom 2 did levels like Dead Simple, that was like an arena fight instead of literally a boss fight. I think it did better than what a single individual boss monster could possibly do.
But just for like an experience of like hopping on with your buds and bullshitting while you're going through killing some fucking monsters. It's blast, dude.
Absolutely fun. It was like stupid fun just being able to be like, oh no, I died, and it just spawns you back at the beginning of the level and you gotta catch up again. It was just always funny, like watching me die, then start heading back, and then like Dalton's like right behind me.
I'll catch up. Or it's like, man, I need the gold key. It's like, well, I just found the gold key. Well, where the fuck are you? That's a good question. It's like, well,
especially that one episode 2 level where there was a 2-sided bridge that rotated around 4 doors, and it was really confusing because we were like, I think I moved the bridge, guys.
Oh yeah, the bridge move. That was when I think Nate fell, and he's like, oh hey, there's elevators, and he just popped back.
You were trying to rocket jump and stuff.
Hey, it worked one time.
I was gonna say, yeah, apparently that worked. I was already like, I had already fucked off, and I was ahead, but I remember you guys being like, I wonder if I can rocket jump that. Oh, it worked. Oh man,
but it didn't work most of the time because I get too excited and then overcorrect to one side or the other.
I mean, I personally don't know how much we can really dive into Quake. It's like it's fucking awesome. It's hard hitting. It's a good shooter. Is there any specifics about it, like that either of you have? Because I don't really have any specifics. I just kind of
have one question for you fellas.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm going to send this picture in our Discord chat. Does this monster have fur, or is this just skin? This is the Shambler, by the way, for everybody at home.
It looks like it's just skin.
That is the correct answer, in my opinion.
I've personally always parsed it as really clammy skin that's kind of the texture of uncooked supermarket chicken.
Yeah, but there's apparently an ongoing debate on the internet whether it has white fur, kind of like a polar bear, or if it's just fleshy grossness. And the three of us all agree it's just fleshy grossness. Good.
It is obviously fleshy grossness. It reminds me of in Final Fantasy VIII, that boss that you fight in the train. The oh god.
Oh, the zombie president.
Yeah, the zombie
right?
president thing. Yeah, it reminds me. It could be like the little brother to that thing, the Gorbaroth or whatever it was.
This guy, I mean, the behind the scenes too is that this guy was pulled from Sandy Peterson, who was one of the designers on the Call of Cthulhu RPG, and basically just nicked a Call of Cthulhu monster for this game.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the Shambler. I think it's a really good monster design. Like, as far as monsters in this game go, I really like the Shambler and the Fiend. The Fiend is a really cool monster.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks kind of like the Shambler, but it's all physical attacks and it's super fast. And playing modern games, you know what it kind of reminds me of movement-wise? Like the Imps in Doom 2016.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would say it's a really, really suitable replacement for the Pinky Demon from Doom, because instead of being slow and distracting, it's like right up in your... It's like if the 2016 Imp and the original Lost Soul and the original Demon all had a horrible child.
And it hits hard. It packs a punch.
Yeah, it just starts eviscerating you with those little spiky little claw, one claw arm, and it has...
Do you guys think that... So say this does well, you know, since this has come out in August, say that, like, more people start playing Quake again and things like that. Do you think that Quake will ever get the reboot like Doom did?
I think that's got to be a possible option, but I think Quake has seen a couple failed reboots already. Like, Quake 4 passed without anyone noticing it. Quake Live was basically, they brought Quake 3 into a browser free-to-play window, and it ended up getting shut down. Quake Champions is kind of like an attempt to rebuild something that's almost...
That's almost like Modern 3 Arena, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if they took 3 Arena and kind of tried to Overwatch it up some, and I don't think it really fit either super well.
Yeah, I remember on the Epic Game Store, you can go and look. There was an Unreal Tournament reboot as well that apparently was abandoned, but you can still play it. But it's like it's no longer in development, and I was like, God damn it!
So what I'm saying is, I think Quake could make a new Quake, but I think they need a consistent aesthetic, and they need to decide whether it wants to be Quake 1 or Quake 2 or Quake 3, which are really different games.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I just think that for nostalgia's sake, it lost the nostalgia war to Doom pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, there are still other properties. Like, I feel like Duke Nukem is overall a larger property than Quake, and I feel like if anyone wanted to bring an old FPS back, that would be the first one to come up.
Dude, I think Duke Nukem deserves it because of Duke Nukem Forever. Like, not that I...
Duke Nukem Forever just poisoned the well so goddamn bad. It's incredible.
Yeah, I've heard that game's just mediocre, and like... People say that it's like it's not a terrible shooter, but the fact that it took so long and it's only as good as it is the reason people are like, "What the fuck?"
Let me put it this way to metalhead listeners out there: Duke Nukem Forever was the sane anger of the Duke Nukem series, and if they come back and make a Death Magnetic, we'll be pretty happy with that.
Fair enough.
There are some songs on Saint Anger that I've like. Now, I used to have this, I don't know, I can't find them anymore. I don't know where the fuck I found them. I used to have these versions of Saint Anger where somebody went in and re-recorded the drums and replaced Lars's shitty snare, and they recorded it with like, and then they recorded some more guitar and stuff and made it sound more full, and it was fucking fantastic. And I lost that on a phone 10 years ago, and I haven't heard them since, but you know, I get that.
I remember there used to be some of those remixes uploaded to YouTube where they would like try to cut them into a more closer to a traditional song structure instead of the meandering weirdness. And I mean, there are some good hooks and moments on that record, but if it's like I don't think that an 80-minute record should have about 8 minutes of good stuff.
Oh no, yeah, no argument from me. No argument from me. So if you were to give this game a rating, out of nail guns, how many thunder guns do you give it out of nail guns? I think I would give it. I give it a solid 9.
So you give it 9 inches
That's
of nail
exactly
gun.
what I was gonna say, baby. It's a solid 9. I'm gonna say something controversial. I think it's more fun to play this version of Quake than it is to play Doom 2.
Damn. I mean, we need to get Doom 2 cooperative and stuff working at some point so we can really
Fair.
comment on that. Because a lot of the fun we had with this was definitely being able to play co-op. But I've really felt strongly. I'm going to give this 9.5 Elder Runes.
Because I think the thing that set it above Doom 2 for me was just movement. The movement felt so much better to me in this game.
I mean, I think that's fully reasonable. Personally, I love Doom's movement, but I agree that first-person shooters like live and die based on how good the movement feels, and this is one of the all-timers, and it set a lot of that up itself.
Well, there you go. A really high score from all three of us. Yay, Quake.
Yeah, Quake. You definitely play it for sure if you never have, or if you have before and you haven't played it in a while, go back to it. Let it tickle your butthole. It's great.
Now, if we want to hear some controversial opinions, when we get to Quake 2, I think I might make some people upset, because I really do not remember enjoying that on the same level as Quake 1 at all, and I felt like it lacked personality and spirit.
Well, we'll see when Steamy decides we should play it.
So
Just trying to make some boomer shooter heads mad while I'm here.
before we get to announcing the next short game and doing some round the community round. Wow, sorry, Pete, if you're listening. I used to listen to a Final Fantasy 14 thing, and they called their house cleaning the community roundup. And I about just ripped that off, just not even thinking about it. I have a list. Gentlemen. And this is old FPS games that are better than you remember, ranked according to Metacritic. Now, we're not going to go into details. We're just going to kind of talk about them based on what they are.
Are they in a specific order? Or?
Yes, I'll give you the number, the name, and then the rating, the user rating on Metacritic.
Okay, so the user rating, the critic rating. Interesting.
Number 16, Heretic, Shadow of the Serpent Riders.
Yes, okay. And Shadow of the Serpent Riders is the equivalent of Ultimate Doom. That's the expansion that has episodes 4 and 5.
Okay.
8.3 overall user score. So that's pretty fucking good.
That honestly seems like a really good score for that game, because I feel like when it came out, it got a lot of flack for being too much like Doom and not being too different. I think
I have trouble remembering which one was Heretic and which one was Hexen.
Heretic was the one that started you off on a dock level, and it was much more straightforwardly like Doom. Heretic had a lot more puzzle finding and switch hunting.
Okay.
So like Hexen also was the one that let you start off when picking a character class. Heretic just jumped you right in with that little rod with a jewel on the end and start shooting at the flying imps.
Okay, gotcha.
You've probably played Heretic and not Hexen.
I don't have any experience with it, but I know it's on the list, so I look forward to checking that out at some point. Number 15 with an 85 user score, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, the first one.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's an important. It's a game that did something different.
Yeah, it was one of the first tactical first-person shooters in like the 3D realm, and
a game that prized realism in a way that wasn't really stupid, whereas a lot of games that try to be realistic just become annoying.
Yeah. Number 14, a game that is on the list. I played it in my childhood, and I'm really looking forward to it when it comes up with a user score of 88. Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Nice.
All right. Yeah.
I am curious about those redone Wolfenstein games. I don't know that I ever played them, so it's one that I'm definitely interested in seeing what it's like.
Yeah. I've heard that it's an up and down series too, so I'm looking forward to that. There's apparently a lot of lore and story and stuff too, so looking forward to seeing what BJ gets up to.
BJ.
The Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I think I played Return to Castle Wolfenstein on PS2. Might have been PS3. It's one of the two. It was They rebooted it with that, and then they rebooted it again.
Wow.
I would say, was it like the New Blood was like a reboot where it's an alternate timeline where the Nazis actually won the World War, and now you're like a holdout cell?
Yeah, those are the newer ones.
So there are 4 Wolfenstein versions, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
There's the Apple games, and then there's Wolf 3D and Spear of Destiny, and then there's Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and then there's the latest series.
That's a lot of Wolfenstein.
Good God.
Wolfenstein.
Thank you.
So they should call it Wolfenstein 5D now.
Number 13, with a user score of 88, Fear. First Encounter Assault Recon.
I never remember what that stands for.
I don't think I'm familiar with that series.
So it's like a horror first-person shooter.
Like in the same vein as like Doom, or
I think like a little slower paced and scarier.
But not as slow paced and scary as Doom 3. I think it's going to be a nice in between.
I'll give you a little excerpt right here. It just says, as the protagonist, you uncover the secrets of an uncanny little girl. So yeah, children are already scary.
True.
Number 12 with a user rating of 89. And this is also on our list. And this is another one that's co-op is going to be a fucking blast on, gentlemen. Left 4 Dead 2.
Nice.
Oh, I keep forgetting that's on the list.
I've actually never played that. I'm actually looking forward to it.
I think you will really like playing that game with us. Like, even if you feel like you're doing terrible at it, I think you'll.
Who are we going to designate to carry the gnome?
Oh man, whoever's good at the game size,
there's an achievement, Nate. There's like a gnome. A garden gnome that you find, and if you carry that thing with you through the entire game, there's like an achievement for at the end where you've carried the gnome with you.
Nice.
I think it like takes.
No, yeah, you can't shoot if you're holding that. You cannot shoot. So like people have to defend you, or you have to like set it down, shoot, and then pick it back up, and keep running.
Nuts.
I think me, Laxby, and Blitz did a run to get the gnome out in the easiest difficulty.
Ooh, Willie. Number 11 with a user score of 8.9. Quake 2.
Yeah, I knew that was going to actually be up there. I mean, like I said, I think my opinion on it's controversial. I think I'm one of the people that didn't like it as much as it is. Technologically, it's really interesting. I just wasn't as blown away about the setting of it. I don't know. It wasn't the same to me.
I have to read this little excerpt. I apologize. I won't read. I'm not going to go into them from all of them, but this says, Quake 2 was merciless, bloody, and inventive in both level design and approach. Its fast-paced gameplay was easy to pick up and enjoy right out of the box. In fact, Quake 2 is so iconic that recently it received a ray tracing upgrade to Core Engines graphics for NVIDIA RTX users to sample.
Wow.
I would like to at least see some video of that, to be honest. I mean, that was ahead of a time engine.
I feel like my computer could handle ray tracing for Quake 2. Like, I know ray tracing on Cyberpunk makes it want to absolutely shit itself, but like I feel like it could handle Quake 2 ray tracing.
Give it a shot.
So we'll check that out. Yeah.
We all say shit like that, and then we install too many shaders, and our Minecraft doesn't work. And that's a game that looks like it came out in 1990.
That's fair. Skyrim, I can run Skyrim with an ENB, but I try to run it with an ENB and reshade. 20 frames a second.
Sounds about right.
Number 10 with a score of 89 is Duke Nukem 3D.
Okay. That is on our list, though, right?
I believe so. If I don't own it, I'm going to get it.
Or like Atomic Edition or one of them.
I have memories of that game. Like my dad's friend Kevin Fitz like had this catalog of VHS movies, and he had a catalog of all his computer games. And I remember playing Duke Nukem 3D, and man, that was a good time. They'd all be in the room playing music, so I could hear them all playing guitar, and I'm sitting there playing Duke Nukem or watching Starship Troopers. Like, it was good shit.
That sounds fun.
I feel like having a big crate of VHS movies is a prerequisite for enjoying Duke Nukem. It is definitely for that kind of person.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean that in a very positive way.
Number 9, with a score of 90, the first Deus Ex.
Okay. So Deus Ex, when we talked earlier about Half-Life having multiple solutions, that's all Deus Ex was. It was completely immersive, and like anything you do, you can do 100.
Yeah, I believe you can go through the entire Deus Ex game without killing anybody if you wanted to. Who wants to do that?
I mean, not like just in the pacifist Doom run type way where it's not intended. Like literally, you can take like tranquilizers and non-lethal techniques and like completely play the game differently than other people. I
would love to think that. Oh, this debuted in 2000. Okay, so I don't know which one pulled from which, but Metal Gear Solid had a lot of that too, where you could go in and do the trank runs and stuff. So, anyways, number 8 with a score of 91, Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2.
Oh, Jedi Knight. Man, I don't even think that runs on computers right now, though, because that's a weird engine that hasn't got a proper source port.
Yeah, I think I've got the first Dark Forces, but I don't believe I've got the second one.
The Jedi Knight ran on a completely different engine. It was more like a compete with Quake type engine with real 3D, whereas Dark Forces 1 was like straight up Doom engine equivalent.
I got you. The screenshot I'm looking at looks cool. The enemy, like this pig dude with a giant axe.
Yeah, I love the Dark Forces enemies. Those games had some, like the Kell Dragons in the first game. They were really neat looking.
Number 7 was a user score of 92. It's Unreal Tournament.
There you go, Dalton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Quake 3 Arena, now that I think about it, what Quake 3 Arena wanted to be was Unreal Tournament. And I'm not saying it didn't work, but it's definitely what it wanted to be.
I've recently went back and played some Unreal Tournament 3 Black, which is the one that had like, I think it had like a fleshed out single player mode and stuff. And man, I enjoy it. It might be nostalgia, but like you talk about you really like the controls in Quake, and they're buttery smooth in Unreal Tournament as well.
I feel like when we get Unreal Tournament, man, the three of us are just going to have to go to that one space level and play Capture the Flag against a bot.
Yes, oh my god.
Shock rifles.
Yes, bitch. Number 6 with a score of 92, the first Medal of Honor.
Okay.
Which I get that. The first Medal of Honor that I ever played was Frontline, I think, on PS2, where like they drop you in on the beach in Normandy and you got to fight your way up Normandy. It was intense.
I mean, Medal of Honor is definitely one of those games that its massive success ended up pulling the genre in a direction I do not enjoy, but got to give it credit for historical importance at the minimum. And I've heard it's actually a good game on its own. It's just, I tend to blame it for the Call of Dutyization of the game.
Well, there might be somebody in particular that you can blame for that. You may be surprised to learn that Medal of Honor's plot was created by film director and producer Steven Spielberg.
I don't find that surprising, to be honest.
That gives them a weird list of video game credits because it's that and Boom Blocks for the Wii, which is a game where you just throw balls at statues like Jenga blocks.
All right, gentlemen, we're in the top 5.
All right,
we're in the top 5. Number 5.
This has been a good list so far. I've been, like, all these games I've had thoughts on.
Oh, yeah, I think you're going to have some thoughts on these top 5, too. One that we really don't have to touch too much on, number 5, at a score of 96, is Quake.
Yep. I think we've got a whole episode dedicated to that somewhere in our catalog.
Yeah, somewhere.
Make some notes.
Number 4 with a tied score at 96. Half-Life 2.
Okay.
Expected that to be higher than 4, not going to lie. But then we got number 3. I do not agree with this one. So I'm going to insert one, but I'm still going to read it what it is. But like, fuck this game. I have an insert for it, right? But number 3, tied with a score of 96, is GoldenEye 007.
Okay, GoldenEye 007 is a game that's very of its time.
Yeah, it did not age well at all.
But in its... the problem is it's a console game. So like at the time we were willing to put up with that frame rate and that kind of control scheme. Unless you use one of the and there's a really cool modernized I think it's a Project 64 hack that lets you use WASD and mouse capture, and it scales everything up to 1080p and 60 frames per second, and it's very playable then. But then, holy shit, is the campaign way too easy. Just now you can actually control things.
Yeah, the hardest part was fighting the damn controls in that game.
Yeah.
I want to throw something out there,
too. They were innovative.
Did either one of y'all ever play the 007 remake on the Wii?
No.
It sucked so hard.
Oh,
and I don't know if that's just my feelings towards like FPSs at the time.
I remember it being badly.
It was badly received. Okay, because I did not enjoy it at all. It's one of the few games that I bought from GameStop, and then the next day took it back and got my money.
Oh man, brutal. You know that's when it's a bad game when you're like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna cook you.
Yeah, because I was young, dude. I was like right out of college. I was like, I gotta take this Wii game back.
So
I could be playing Knack.
Oh, fucking Knack. Hey, I think Knack's gotten sequels. Like, that game was apparently all right. I think it was like Knack 2, Knack 3.
I just threw it as an in-joke for listeners of a certain YouTube personality.
Oh, okay. My number 3, personally,
Shout out, Donkey.
would be Counter-Strike Condition Zero. I don't even know what the score is, but I would take that over GoldenEye any day. But that's just me.
Are there no Counter-Strikes?
There are no Counter-Strikes on this list.
That is actually really wild. Okay.
Number 2, with a score of 97, it's a little game called Perfect Dark.
Okay. Wow, both the Rare and 64 shooters back to back on this list.
It has to be, because it's strictly better than GoldenEye. So if GoldenEye has that score, then it should be.
No, I don't disagree with you, but I'm just like, wow, I can't believe they put both of them on this list, though.
Oh yeah, you're saying you could have just had one. I think it's because they naively sorted by Game Critic score or Metacritic score instead of doing any editorializing on it.
That's true. You guys want to try to guess what number 1 is?
Okay, what was the title of the list before we go any further?
Let me scroll back up real quick. The title of the list was,
I think it was like
old FPS
shooters,
games that are better than you remember.
Doom 2.
Better than like it can't be Doom or Doom 2 because those games are well remembered to be fantastic.
I'm sticking with Doom 2.
Do you think it's...
I mean, it's probably a good guess. Let me see what we haven't said. Quake 3 hasn't shown up. Could be Unreal Tournament 99, 2001. I think the original was 99.
You want a hint?
He's thinking hard, listeners.
Very hard. Raising the table so hard.
I'm gonna be upset. Hexen's not gonna be on the list. It's not.
It's not Hexen. I'll give you that much. It's not Hexen.
Is it? We haven't had a Call of Duty game, have we? Is it Call of Duty?
Okay, so your guess is Call of Duty.
Yes, my guess is
and
Call
your
of
guess
Duty.
was Doom 2.
Yep.
How old was the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare? Because if that's more than 10 years old and that's on the list, that's specifically the one I'm going for.
I want to say Modern Warfare is at least 10 years old. So
Okay,
Modern
that's
Warfare.
what I'm gonna say. So the original Call. Yep.
Okay, so I'll give you a hint. You're both wrong, so I'm going to give you one more hint. All right.
Okay.
It's fucking Halo Combat Evolved with a 97.
Okay.
And I'm like, Halo!
How is Halo on the list if it's better than remembered when Halo is better remembered than Doom at this point, and Doom didn't make it on that list at all?
I know!
I'm actually just shocked that they rounded out the list with console games.
Yes, that's also true.
I will say that Halo 1 is now available on PC. Well, all the Halo games are now available on PC.
Yeah.
Because of the Master Chief Collection. So you can apparently play the first Halo in 4K now and all of that.
Are they disasters? Because I remember there being something wrong with the Master Chief Collection at one point.
I want to say that they fixed anything that was wrong with it, if I remember right. I own it. I should install that shit and check it out.
How many people can play co-op on that? I thought I remember it being 2-player local back in the day, but if there's any way to do like 3 or 4-player co-op, that might be interesting.
I want to say, like, maybe not the original Halo, but I know...
But they might have added in a 3 or 4-player?
That or the, God, what was it? Halo Reach? Or Halo ODST?
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of those games you played as a squad.
That's
And
right.
It might be more. I do know that, like, you can do deathmatch and stuff, which is obviously more than... But, like, yeah.
Or we could go to Deathmatch and just all stand around Blood Gulch reenacting scenes from Red vs. Blue.
I love, dude, my favorite... I always just wanted to play Blood Gulch and do Capture the Flag and just... Let's just go, man. Warthog fight. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Drive full speed. Hit each other.
I think me and my friends tended to have more fun just like attaching sticky bombs to the Warthog and seeing how high we could physics them into the sky than we did actually playing Deathmatch.
There was this one particular spot up there where I'd always try to get up on this rock where nobody could see where you're at. And if you had the sniper rifle, buddy, whoo, some free points for you. Just camp up there and just take them out.
I would always sweep that area with a pistol. I was ready for y'all. I knew about you.
Oh, you were about that life.
Oh yeah. The pistol was such a come to you. Okay, I have some positive memories of Halo after all. Okay, you're actually unlocking the Halo feelings. Okay, fair enough.
All right. Well, I mean that's the list. So if you guys don't have anything else, then I think we should get into some house cleaning, which
all right,
be...
I want to say something. You always say house cleaning. Is it the proper term housekeeping?
I think it is housekeeping, but like house cleaning is just the way I've always said it.
Okay, I like it. I'm into it. I just wanted to throw it out there.
He's just tight. He's like a little mouse in the front of his house, sweeping off the front porch with a
Exactly.
He's house cleaning.
Like,
Man.
I'm that instead of like Peter, like housekeeping. Oh,
No.
you want me to join? I watch. No, I clean. Okay, I clean. God, I watched that clip the other day. It popped up on TikTok. It was funny. But yeah, so the house cleaning is if you'd like to join the Discord, come over and vote on the new games and stuff. Which, by the way, the next short poll, I get to make a new one tonight because the game that won, my mind blanked on the name real quick. Midnight Mysteries 4: Haunted Houdini. Somehow that beat out King of Fighters. I don't know how, but yeah. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be like a hidden object, point and click, mystery game thing. It's going to be fun. Hopefully. We'll see.
So that's 2 weeks from now, and then next week
is Grim Dawn. Grim Dawn. But yeah, if you want to join the Discord and come over and vote on those, or just join in our general shenanigans of chatting about games or anime or whatever you would like, it is bit.ly/TSMP Discord. That is all capital letters. If you want to join the Patreon, which shout out to our wonderful Patreons, with a special shout out to Nate Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper, Jeff, the original expendable Jeffy Lube, and Aris Adam. Shout out to his podcast, Revival and Extinction.
Shout outs, gang. Thank you for making this
Thank you very much. And they get a shout out by donating $10 or more a month. We appreciate you guys very much. But if you want to just subscribe for just $1, you can, and you will get your episodes early, and you get to hear our random little bullshit that we talk about before we start the episode. And that would be at patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. And if you want a dope ass shirt, you want a dope shirt with our logo on it, hop over to tsmpproductions.threadless.com. And I already plugged my music earlier, so I don't want to do that too much, but new album, Moonpath to Somewhere, nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. Go check it out. Nate, hit us with your plugs, my good sir.
Yep, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at TurtleBearMan, where I do my retro games. Have a blast doing it. This week, I'll be playing some Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest. So if you want to catch that, come hang out with me on Friday. We'll be having a good old time.
Fun fact, I have always called that game Diddy Kong's Quest, but it's Diddy's Kong Quest, right?
Yep.
There's a pun.
Yeah. See, I never even thought about the pun until like I heard somebody enunciate it on YouTube one time, and I went, "Oh." And Willie, is there anything that you would like to plug, my good sir?
I mean, I haven't been on Twitch. I haven't been doing a lot of extracurricular stuff lately because I've been a little overwhelmed by a lot of things. But I don't know why I said things like all of a sudden I got real excited about a lot of things, y'all.
I ain't no thing but a chicken wing.
Don't make me hungry. I just ate too much Taco Bell. Anyway, but I don't know. I was thinking of doing some streaming. I did a private on Discord stream for a few people a while back of some Pico 8 games, which is like a fantasy micro console that I've been interested in making games for recently. It's kind of like a new system or newer system, like from 2015. That's kind of like an old Commodore 64 or Apple II computer or TRS-80, that kind of thing. And it's got very high limitations or very low limitations. It keeps you simple in what you do. But people have done some amazing stuff with it. So I want to do some shows like just spotlighting cool games. People like the original Celeste game that was made on it.
Oh, okay.
And then that got developed out into the that cool the 2018 version that everyone actually knows. And then the original was put inside of it as a bonus feature. So like, it's a very cute console, and a lot of the games seem to have a lot of fun and joy in them. And I just want to share that with people.
Is that the system that Cave Story originated on by chance? Because I know Cave Story is like another one of those games that has been ported to like all the retro systems.
I think Cave Story was originally made for PC, and it's just designed to look like an older computer game, but it does have that feeling of like an MSX or similar old type of game.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good example for the genre, though. It's like very retro too.
On my 3DS, there's like a core to just run Cave Story. Like that's all it does is run Cave Story. It's just interesting. Okay, but yeah,
just the physical Cave Story hardware that you've put in there, just to play, just to get Curly Brace some friends.
Yeah. Am I forgetting anything? I feel like I did this by myself last week, and I was so frazzled that I'm sure I forgot something. But
we've done plugs, so that means you've done everything.
All right,
else.
Then I think that about does it for this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It was nice to have you back. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, take it easy.
I almost said don't forget to drink the milk. Oh.
You did. You just did. And stop.
How do you forget what podcast we're on? You're not on that show. That's a McElroy. Oh, I'm still recording too. Shit.